Have you ever felt like something invisible is following you, even when you're alone? Have you ever felt like you're being watched, heard quiet footsteps in the hallway, or noticed a shadow passing by you quickly when no one is around? Many call it imagination, but what if it's not? What if you really are being spiritually persecuted? The invisible world is much more active than we imagine. Just as there are forces of light that support, guide, and strengthen us, there are also forces that work to weaken us, discourage us, and trap us in cycles of pain and confusion. The problem is that when we don't know how to recognize these signs, we end up believing it's just stress, fatigue, or coincidence. But is it really all just psychological? Think for a moment. How many times have you felt an inexplicable chill, that sudden chill that runs down your spine for no reason? Or woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, as if you just emerged from an invisible struggle? These phenomena can be clear signs that a spiritual presence is watching you closely, interfering with your energy. The question is, are you paying attention to these signs, or have you chosen to ignore them? Spiritual persecution doesn't just reveal itself in the night, in dreams, or in chills. It can also manifest itself in your everyday life. Have you ever had everything suddenly start to go wrong, without explanation? Projects that were flowing smoothly, relationships that fray for no apparent reason, problems that arise one after the other like a streak of bad luck. Is it really bad luck? Or are you facing a spiritual siege that drains your strength and tries to undermine your faith? Another sign of this persecution is inexplicable fatigue. You sleep, but you don't rest. You wake up more tired than when you went to bed. Your body feels heavy, your mind confused, and even the simplest things seem to require a huge effort. It's as if something is draining your vital energy. Have you ever felt this way? This kind of drain isn't just physical, it's spiritual, and when left untreated, it turns into a cycle of constant exhaustion. You may also notice this persecution in your thoughts. Ideas of fear, insecurity, and even giving up begin to emerge with greater force, as if they weren't entirely yours. It's as if an invisible voice is trying to convince you that it's not worth fighting, that you're alone, that there's no way out. These thoughts don't appear out of nowhere. They're often induced by energies that want to distance you from the light and keep you trapped in the darkness. Have you ever noticed how, at certain moments, it feels like your mind is being assaulted by a wave of negativity? And don't think all this is rare or far-fetched. Spiritual persecution is more common than you might think, but few people have the courage to admit it. Many prefer to ignore it, thinking the problem will disappear. But the truth is, the more you ignore it, the more these forces gain ground, because where there is no resistance, darkness sets in. Also, observe your surroundings. Tense homes, where residents constantly fight, where sleep is disturbed, where objects break without explanation, can be a direct reflection of spiritual persecution. The space you live in is a mirror of your energy, and if you're being persecuted, your home feels it too, and your family also notices, even if unconsciously. Have you ever noticed changes in the atmosphere in your home for no apparent reason? Spiritual persecution can even reveal itself through the people who approach you. Toxic relationships, friendships that drain your energy, people who always bring bad news or involve you in gossip and intrigue. It's as if you're suddenly drawn into environments and situations that only increase your spiritual burden. This is no coincidence. It's part of the invisible siege trying to dim your light. But perhaps the greatest sign of spiritual persecution is the constant feeling of being blocked. You try to move forward, but something seems to hold you back. You feel like you could achieve more, live more, smile more, but an invisible barrier always appears, something blocking your path. Have you ever felt tied down, as if carrying chains no one sees? This is the hallmark of negative spiritual influences, trying to impede your growth. And the burning question is, are you experiencing this right now? Could that string of sleepless nights, those chills, that fatigue, and even the seemingly endless problems just be coincidences? Or could you be experiencing a silent spiritual persecution that needs to be identified, to be overcome? Because the truth is, when you ignore the signs, you give persecution even more room to intensify. But when you open your spiritual eyes and begin to recognize the signs, you become stronger and can begin to fight back. So stop for a moment and reflect. Are you being spiritually persecuted? One of the first signs of spiritual persecution is I'm disturbed. When the soul is under attack, the night ceases to be a place of rest and becomes a battlefield. You may have recurring nightmares, wake up with your heart racing, feel as if you're being watched, or even sense a presence in the room. Many people report waking up at the same time every morning, especially at 3 a.m., for no apparent reason. This repetitive pattern is one of the biggest clues that something beyond the physical is going on. Another very strong signal is the constant fatigue without explanation. You can sleep for hours and still wake up exhausted. During the day, you feel a weight on your body, as if carrying something invisible on your shoulders. It's not just physical fatigue, it's an energetic drain. It's as if a force is draining your vitality. Have you ever felt that even when you rest, your energy isn't renewed? This could be a reflection of a spiritual persecution draining your strength, a sensation of invisible presence. It's also a warning. Being alone and feeling someone nearby, hearing footsteps in the hallway, noticing quick figures in the corner of your vision, or feeling sudden chills for no reason. These are common signs of spiritual persecution. It's as if the opposing energy wants to make itself known, hovering around the room and disturbing your peace. Another clear sign is unexplained blocks in life projects that were moving forward suddenly stall, doors that seemed open close, opportunities disappear for no reason. It's as if there's an invisible barrier preventing your progress. If this happens repeatedly, it could be a direct reflection of spiritual persecution trying to paralyze your growth. Emotionally shaken is another symptom. When there is persecution, thoughts of fear, insecurity, deep sadness, or even the desire to give up arise more strongly. Often you realize that these thoughts aren't born from you, but rather that they seem to have been inserted into your mind. It's as if a negative voice insists on discouraging you, on distancing you from faith and hope. This emotional invasion is one of the most used weapons against those under spiritual attack. Also observe the conflicts at home, constant arguments, fights over trivial matters, a lack of harmony among residents. All of this can be a reflection of an external energy interfering in the environment. The home, which should be a refuge, becomes a stage for discord and misunderstandings. This doesn't happen by chance. It's often the effect of spiritual persecution infiltrating relationships, weakening them even further. Another important sign is instability of objects and the physical environment. Light bulbs that constantly burn out, electronic devices that break without explanation, strange noises at night, doors that creak or move on their own. These phenomena can be manifestations of spiritual energy trying to get your attention. The invisible often expresses itself through the visible. We cannot forget the pets. They have a much greater sensitivity than we do. If your dog barks at nothing, becomes restless in certain areas of the house, or if your cat stares at empty spots as if watching something, these are clear signs of spiritual movement in the environment. Animals function as natural sensors, and when they react for no apparent reason, you need to pay attention. Finally, one of the most painful signs of spiritual persecution is succession of problems in personal life. Poor health, financial difficulties, relationships that fall apart, a feeling of constant bad luck, when everything seems to be continually going wrong with no logical explanation. It's because the persecution has already surpassed the energetic level and begun to be reflected in your material life. It's an attempt to make you give up, to drain your faith, and to erase your inner strength. These signs, when observed together, reveal much more than mere coincidences. They are clear messages that something is working against you on the spiritual plane. The question is, are you willing to see and react? If you've noticed that many of these signs are part of your life, it's time to act. It's not enough to simply recognize spiritual persecution. You need to strengthen your energy and create barriers of light. The first step is daily prayer, not a prayer repeated mechanically, but a sincere conversation with the divine. Words spoken with faith create powerful vibrations that spread throughout the environment and repel everything that does not belong to the light. Psalm 91, for example, has been known for centuries as a spiritual protection, a wall against invisible persecutions. Recite it aloud, preferably before bed. To shield your night. Energetic cleaning of the home is also essential. Homes where persecution occurs accumulate heavy vibrations. Light a natural incense of myrrh, rue, or sage, and walk through every corner of the house, asking the smoke to carry away what no longer serves you. As you walk, declare, "May all negative energy be dissipated, and may only light remain in this place." This practice, when done consistently, transforms the vibration of the environment. Another powerful practice is the use of sal grosso. It is considered one of the greatest natural purifiers. Place a glass of water and coarse salt in the main corners of the house, especially near the entrance. Change it every 7 days. You will often notice that the water becomes cloudy or the salt crystallizes, a sign that it has absorbed dense energies. Candle strength cannot be ignored either. Light a white candle in a safe place and say a prayer for protection. The flame represents the spiritual light that cuts through the darkness and creates a direct connection with higher powers. You can combine this practice with prayer, asking that your life and home be illuminated and strengthened against any persecution. Power of herbs is also a great ally. Baths with rue, rosemary, or basil help cleanse the physical and energetic body, removing burdens that may have become embedded. Prepare a tea with these herbs, let it cool, and pour it from the neck down, always praying that all the weight be dissolved. You will feel the difference in your body and mind. Another form of protection is to create altar or spiritual corner in your home. It can be simple: a candle, a glass of water, an image of faith, a stone or crystal. This space acts as a point of strength, a place to renew your energy daily. Whenever you feel heavy, go to this corner, say a prayer, and quiet your mind. Over time, this point becomes a true beacon within your home. We cannot forget power of music and words. Play soft music, mantras, or chants that raise the vibration of the environment. Energy responds to sound, and a home that vibrates harmoniously repels persecution. Likewise, be careful with your words. Gossip, constant complaining, and angry words open the way for heavy energies. Words of gratitude and blessing strengthen your spiritual field. To further reinforce protection, use energy crystals. Black tourmaline is excellent for repelling negative vibrations, while white quartz harmonizes and amethyst brings peace and spiritual clarity. Place them near your bed, your front door, or in places where you feel the most dense energy. They act as silent guardians, absorbing and transmuting the energies around you, and most importantly, keep them on high energy. No external practice will be effective if your interior is steeped in anger, fear, or resentment. Spiritual persecution feeds on the emotional gaps we leave. When you cultivate faith, gratitude, forgiveness, and trust, you become a living shield. The light that emanates from within you is the greatest weapon against any invisible persecution. Because the truth is simple: darkness cannot resist where there is light, and the stronger you become, the harder it becomes for any opposing energy to reach you.